to everybody. Hopefully, everybody has a safe and happy 2020. And I welcome you back to Let's Play Kasawa Shoujo. Last time we finished up the Hanako good ending route. I know there's a neutral ending to Hanako, but I've decided to skip forward and proceed on to the next girl, which is Emmy. If you don't know who Emmy is, that's the one with the no legs. Off screen, I had to start a new game and just, do some choices just to get to the certain part that is the branching path to her route. And yeah, we're gonna be going after her. First things first, we're gonna do her bad ending, and then we're gonna finish it off with her good ending. So let's do the bad ending. I have made a save state, which is here, Legend of Illusion Theory, and there are two choices that I've not chosen before. Wait for Shizune and Misha to come in position to make a decision or read my book. So, to get to Emmy's way, we're gonna have to read my book. So let's begin there. I do what I always do when I don't know what to do. Like now. I've already started on one of the books I borrowed yesterday and took it with me to the school to fill in the empty moments between classes. I find the page that I creased a corner of the mark off to mark the spot I left yesterday night, and pick up from there. Misha and Suzune are still arguing heatedly, probably about restaurants still. If I join them, I get caught up in that. Or worse, get grilled about joining the student council. I'm probably thinking the first choice, the wait for Shizune Misha, is to go to their route. But I think I'm saving them for last in this game. Misha isn't speaking aloud since there is nobody to who need to hear what they are talking about. But why does she tend to sign things even when Shizune doesn't need to understand what's being said? Or even more strangely, when Shizune is not around at all? What an odd conflict of habits. I find it hard to focus on the book, and besides, the lunch break beckons me to leave the dullness of the classroom. I do so, heading down for the cafeteria. Misha and Shizune having come to a conclusion of what kind or another, following my way through, still talking in their animated fashion. Ugly picture. Just around the corner of the hallway, something hits me in the chest with the force of a runaway train. Ouch. There she is. That's who we're going for. So cute. Opening my eyes, I see a pair of saucer-like green eyes looking up at me. They belong to the perpetrator, a short girl who bumped into me has now fallen down onto the hallway floor. She wears a PE uniform and has a very worried frown. The former strikes me as a rather strange thing to have on during a lunch break. More striking than that, though, is that she doesn't have legs. Or she does, but they're not flesh and bone. Her pale and very much flesh and bone thighs and then shins and feet made of some black metallic or plastic-like material. They look disturbingly artificial and unnatural. It almost makes me forget that my chest is hurting. The girl winces a little, rubs her nose, and jumps up. Aw, man. Hey, are you alright? I'm sorry about that, really. I wasn't looking where I was going, and you just came out of nowhere. Sorry. She's looking really apologetic. Her puppy way of looking apologetic. I quickly forget about being angry or anything, since her puppies are my weak spot. She does look like a her puppy. Plus, the mm, fucking bloomers. Mm-mm-mm. I mean, it's okay, don't worry about it. Ouch. Oh shit, my heart. I say that, but there's a stinging pain going in my chest. Yeah, I know, because it's fucking bloomers right there. But anyway, and I know this is about the biggest possible danger for my condition. Don't overexert yourself. Don't forget your medication, and most of all, don't get hit in the chest. And unfortunately, we did. She didn't mean to, though. I try to run my solar plexus to chase the pain away, holding my breath in an attempt to hear my heartbeat. It seems normal. Hey, should I get a nurse? That worried, high-pitched voice of the girl snaps me out of it. I stare at her for a few seconds, dumbfounded, until I realize that I probably looked worse off than I really was. Doubled over myself and looking all tense. Damn, I'm overly worried about my heart. No need. I'm fine. Managing to say something in response, I pull myself upright, feeling my sore ribs one last time and take a deep breath. She just knocked the wind out of me. Big time. But it's nothing more than that. Are you sure you're okay? I hit you pretty hard. It's okay. It said I was fine. Nothing's broken. No harm done. That's good. That was. I feel a hand on my shoulder at the same time the girl's eyes widen in horror and. Oh, wait, what? I didn't press anything. wait, wait. I didn't press anything and they're just like, what the fuck? I feel a hand on my shoulder at the same time the girl's eyes widen in horror and whatever she was saying gets interrupted by a very horrified Eep! I think that was meant to happen. Oh shit. I don't have time to look behind me because Shizune is already shoving me aside and stopping over to the girl, signing furiously at her. Miss Ibaraki. Yeah, Ibarazaki. Excuse. I saw that. Running in the halls is strictly forbidden. Misha translates Ryan Shizune's tale, but her voice is courteously playful, not full of the divine fury Shizune's arm movements would seem to call for. Sorry, I was just going to get some stuff, and I was kind of in a hurry. You've been told this 1,000 times before. Your reckless behavior endangers other students, and even worse, it's explicitly against the school regulations. Girl blushes and starts to fidget nervously like a little child caught misbehaving. So cute, I find myself smiling. I know that. I was just make sure that this will not happen again. Although I'm sure telling you this is futile and only causes me further headache when you choose to ignore the regulations. Got that, Emmy? The small girl sticks her tongue out in response. Ah! I gotta go. Teacher will have my head. I promised to help out with printouts, but I'm running instead. Sorry, I gotta change and everything. Before Misha and Suzune can, or I can say anything, she's already bolted from where she was a second ago, almost halfway towards the stairwell. Shizune looks like she's about to go nuclear on the spot, so I smile at her vein in an attempt to calm her down. Hmm. Are you okay, Hee-chan? The Ibarazaki girl is always like that, causing trouble to others. You know, I'm pretty certain Shizune wouldn't call me Hee-chan. Never mind, never mind. Yeah, anyway, Oh, wait, that's me. Anyway, oh, I'm okay. Just got the wind knocked out of me. uh, that's great, Hee-chan. I wouldn't call that great, but I let this slide this one time. We have to run now. There's an important student council meeting regarding the festival, and we finally decided where to eat. Too bad you can't join, but this lunch meeting is only for council members. We can't take you there some other time. Oh, but that would be like a day, wouldn't it? Wahahaha. Ugh. Sorry, the girls leave for downstairs. I didn't manage to get far from the third floor of hallway before all this commotion struck. Literally. I should get going as well. The lunch in the afternoon class passed uneventfully. Eventually. I read most of my book I started yesterday and eat some of the mostly ineditable offerings of the cafeteria. The class is tiresome. The teacher seems like an okay person despite the weird first impression I got, and the material is relatively interesting. However, the way he teaches is really bizarre, as if he expects that everyone is a natural genius. When the final bell sounds, I realize that there is still a lot of time left in the day, and I'm left wondering what to do. It's odd. At the hospital, I had 24 hours a day of free time, but here filling the considerably shorter hours feels difficult. Everyone else leaves, and I'm left alone with the teacher. Muto is examining the assignment sheets we were working on earlier, marking them with a red ball pen. Raising his eyes from his papers briefly, he notices me and furrows his brow. What is it, Nakai? I jump at him addressing me, but I guess it's natural to spark some conversation since there is nobody else around. Nothing. Thinking about what I do after school. The teacher slowly puts on the cap on the pen he is holding and arranges his papers into a stack, clacking it against the desk twice. He seems very methodical, and for a brief moment I'm reminded of Shizune, but the teacher is more unhurried and relaxed, much more routine. You have no plans? No, I'll consider joining a club, but I don't know what kind of club would interest me. Go observe a meeting of someone else's club. Might pique your interest. I guess. I just I don't know how to I don't know how to continue from there. Muto looks at me in a way that makes me quickly want to take the words back to avoid a conversation. But I can't, so I have to forge ahead. I just don't know how to deal with people. I mean, the other students. I'm talking to people and everything, so it's not I be isolated or anything. I just don't know what to think about. Disabilities. It's like, it feels that I'm being impolite if I pay attention to them, and it's weird to ignore them. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. The teacher scratches his cheek absent-mindedly, looking very unresponsive. These things are only an issue if you want to make them one. You cannot talk normally with someone, even if they are blind or something. Try to look behind the superficial. There's not a single student here who isn't just a normal kid behind whatever they might seem at first glance. He says the same thing as Yuko did. I know they're right, but it's hard. How can you not consider, for example, Shizune's deafness, when the only way to communicate with her is to talk through Misha? Or Hanago. It's not like you can ignore her face. But I'm interrupted by the door of the classroom suddenly slamming open. Teacher! Misha crashes in, hands straight in an enthusiastic greeting, her voice loud and lively enough to wake the dead from their graves. She starts towards the teacher's desk with her bouncing step, hands energetically swinging in with the rhythm. Muto, visibly dismayed at the interruption, and Misha in general slumps in his chair. Mikado? Misha stops in her tracks and looks around cluelessly as she's sensing from his tone that something's wrong but has no idea what. Yes? We have talked about volume control before. Yes? But she doesn't lower her voice at all, and the teacher just rubs his eyes. So, what is it? We need help. We're running out of supplies for the festival stands. This is a distress. She waves a big slip of paper she's holding around. So, go get more supplies from the art room. What's the problem with that? Plywood! Plywood! Plywood is always the problem. Last time we wanted more and there was only a little, but that time we just took it all and went with that. Now there's nothing like left before, or nothing left there, so do you know where there is some? I don't understand. How would I know? Shichan! I mean, the president thought that a teacher would know if there was plywood. Was she wrong? Muto looks like he's in great pain. Frowning from his entire essence, and Misha doesn't get it at all. Looking at the two of them communicate is terrible. Like looking at a man being tortured by the drilling of his skull open while blasting pop music at full volume at the same time. I'm afraid I have no idea if there is any plywood at this school, let alone where it would be if there was any. Aww, what should I do? Perhaps to find Mr. Namiya. I'm sure he would know where to find everything you need. You have to pry them from his cold dead hands, but that's a different matter. Ah, I don't have time. We are so busy. She holds her head with both of her hands, looking as despairing as it's possible for a person like her. Without even noticing, she crumbles the note she's holding against her hair. I shouldn't even be fetching these things. There's so much to do and we are falling behind the schedule. Mito looks at her gravely and then suddenly smiles. Smiling doesn't really fit his face. I think it'd be better if he didn't. I wonder if you can get some temporary help. He switches to staring at me focusedly with a hard expression, as if trying to say, go make some friends. I guess I can give you a hand. You can? Thanks, Hichan. You are really nice. She pauses and does a double take and then points at me with her finger, yelping, ah, and looking very puzzled. Come to think of it, what's Hichan doing here? Class is over, you should be having fun. We just had a little chat. Oh no, it's not detention, is it? Are you in trouble, Hichan? No, I'm not. Is Hichan in trouble, teacher? No, he's not. Muto sighs deeply and I feel I have to help Misha to get off the teacher's back. So what do you need? Here's a list. I tried to find the plywood from somewhere if there's none in the art room. She offers me a note she's holding. I take it, hesitating a bit. I said I'd help you, but this has no implications on whether I'm joining the council or not. Aww. Still, thanks, Hee-chan. Try to be quick. We are installed building streak now. We must hurry, hurry, hurry. She bounces out of the classroom, leaving me and the teacher looking at each other with something that feels like a silent agreement. Well, there you have it, Yakai. You have something to do now. Please don't sound so smug. Looking at the list with a number of items ranging from paint to plywood, all written from with small neat handwriting. That is undoubtedly Shizune's. I heave a sigh. I'll be going then. Having a long list limply at the teacher, I exit to the hallway. The classroom's closet to ours are designated, belonging to classes 3-1 and 3-2 on the right side, and 3-4 on the left side, each door looking exactly the same. Further down the corridor, still with identical doors, are rooms that I didn't think they were used for classes. I guess the art room is not a classroom as such. I care for the pushing open the furthest door and peek in. Oh, this is where we see, I think it's Rinchan, I think. Yeah, I think so. It's a classroom, but it seems rather badly kept or not in use. Am I in the right place? Dust and chairs are all around the room, and a thin layer of dust settled on them. There are some easels in the corners, so at least this looks like the right place. The room is flush with inside light from the big windows, shadows creeping all over the desks. Specks of dust are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light almost visible. Jokingly, I call into the empty room. Anybody? Oh, something catches my eyes and I stop mid-sentence. There she is. Sitting on the desk is a short-haired girl, curiously wearing a boy's uniform with a fork between her toes, a morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. This odd way of dining seems to be caused by the apparent lack of hands, but her presence here is what takes me back even more. How did I miss her before? She's sitting in the corner very still, but I still somehow took her as part of the furnishing of her statue at first glance. I'm not I'm not being too observant today, as a whole. The girl seems to be frozen in place, staring at me with her huge eyes like a rabbit in headlights. She's staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. I'm staring at her, my mouth wide open, suddenly remembering I didn't finish my sentence and trying to think if I should. This weird stalemate keeps us both stunned into silence, punctuated only by the wall clock ticking rhythmically. Hello. The girl stuffs the fork full in her mouth and is now staring at me expectantly while chewing. This is a bit awkward. Hello? I was told to pick up some supplies from here. For some festival stalls, I didn't think there would be someone here. There isn't. That's why I came here too. She picks up another forkful. Doesn't that mean you're here then? She raises her eyebrows as if she was suspecting my observation was false. You're pretty observant, but I guess it does. But who are you? This girl is pretty straightforward, isn't she? I'm Nakai. Isao Nakai. I just transferred her here on Monday. I'm Rin. Tezuka Rin. Rin Tezuka. I wouldn't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are now. That's very nice. Her deadpan manner of talking makes it hard to determine whether she's joking about shaking hands or not. It kind of bothers me. Joking about these matters doesn't feel appropriate at all. Well, I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate and whether this girl is. She seems to have lost interest in me and is now gazing yearningly back at her food. Can I continue my lunch? If you don't mind me, I won't mind you. If you need to get your stuff, the supplies are at the back. Go right ahead. But lunch? School's already over for the day. What word would you use then? There's no word for a meal you eat after lunch, but before dinner, right? It bothers me very much too, but I don't really know what I should say. I don't think you were supposed to eat a meal between lunch and dinner to begin with. But I'm hungry now, and my delicious box lunch would go to waste otherwise. I have curry. It's very delicious. With much decisiveness, Rin once again picks up the fork between her toes, and with at least as much impoliteness, she points it straight at me. So, Nakai, what brings you to this place? Like I said, I was told to look for these things. No, the school. From outside, you look fine. Is your problem inside? I come to a full stop, opening my mouth and not getting a word out. I I can guess. I am good at guessing, better than most people. Rin cuts me off before I can answer her question, or skirt around it somehow. I don't know which I would have done. I froze in front of this issue again. I haven't even told anyone here about my condition, or maybe it's only because it hasn't really come up. I do get the feeling that not making issues of this is a part of the social code here, as the teacher said. I wonder if the people here could relate. Probably not any better than any normal person could. I can relate to Shizune's circumstances, or Lily's either. Naturally, while I go through this in my head, Ring keeps considering what my condition could be, with an overly contemplative look in her face. She puts the fork between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if the answer was written up there. A beam of light illuminates her face from the window's side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the other side. I don't think it's anything in your head, and something in your guts would be boringly ordinary, like this lunch of mine, and less delicious. The problem is, the problem must be in your pants. This messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement and the sheer lack of tact it was delivered with catches me completely off guard. I think I might have reeled back, even physically, as Ren's eyes widened in revelation and astonishment. So I was right. There is something wrong with your tackle, isn't there? Still partially in shock, but recognizing the need to reply something, I spit out the first thing I could think of. No, 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 nothing like that. I have a heart problem. Arrhythmia. I said it. More like I blurted it out, but I said it. The girl in front of me purses her lips together and glores at me, looking very disappointed. Hmm. How boring. Troubling the pans would be much more scandalous. What's with this reaction? I'm sorry to let you down there. I forgive you. Just, I collect people and a person with, that kind of problem. Would have been really great. Collect people? People with different problems. Huh? So you just, go around asking people what's wrong with them? Pretty much. I see. A little left to say. Rin resumes her lunch and the conversation dies away. But I keep thinking about what was said. It's the first time I told anyone else about my condition. All the other people have either known about it already or have heard it from someone else. Or didn't need to know about it, like every other student here so far. Should I have told it was a natural part of introductions? Is it expected of me? Hi, I'm Hisao. I have a very serious heart condition. Is that how I'm supposed to go around introducing myself from now on? As if our disabilities would define us. What a disgusting thought. Or maybe this Tezuka girl just has an unnatural interest in such things. As I walk to the back of the room to pick up the items on Misha's list, a chance opens to steady Rin from the corner of my eye. Her hair is a burnt auburn, almost orange, and cropped short. Long hair would have probably be impossible with no arms. The boy's uniform and the lack of arms make her look very thin, almost scrawny. She is not particularly pretty except her murky green eyes which flicker restlessly from below her short bangs, even when she eats. The distance and the shadows make it seem like they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it within them like deep wells. She moves her feet almost as deftly as a normal person would use their arms. However, I can see how this sight could discomfort people, especially while eating. It makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, at least. I hesitate to think about the word unnatural, but is it too late now, isn't it? I keep searching the cabins and shelves for Misha's things, but after enough time passes, the silence grows too uncomfortable, so I try to force some conversation out of this strange girl. So, do you always eat alone and this late? Or do you get the occasional visitor? Visitors? Maybe you were my first occasional visitor. I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the roof, if she's not horsing around. Horsing? She likes to do sports. Oh, and that's all I can think of to say. Both of us fall silent again as Rin forks the last bits of her meal to her mouth. I look down at my haul and double check it with Misha's list. It seems that I have everything except plywood. So I think I've all of all the things now. That's very nice for you. Don't feel obliged to stay. I was about to take a nap anyway. You, you need to do whatever you were going to do with that stuff anyway, right? Or perhaps you would like to watch girls sleeping. Well, I'm not sure what to think of this. Rin looks serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. I'll catch you around, Tezuka. You can call me Rin. I feel that our relationship at this point is good enough to warrant this much. I was already turning to make my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine then. Let me sell. And you are. Rin looks at me out of hard in the eyes, but that intimidating feeling when someone stares at you isn't there. It's like she's actually not looking at me at all. She blinks a couple of times, and I can't figure why a pause like this just popped between us out of nowhere. See you later, Sal. There's something like a tiny smile on her face, maybe. I quietly backed out of the room. As I shut the door in front of my face, I whispered to myself, what an intriguing person. From inside, I hear a muffled sing-song voice. Hey, that. What is she here? Oh, Jesus Christ, where the hell did you come from? I jump at the sudden appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow, she had gone to jumping distance of me without making a sound. Creepy. It briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about the global feminist conspiracy, but I pushed that thought aside. Shizune, standing slightly behind Misha, looks aloof, as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention. But Misha is visibly excited. No wait, more importantly, who is in there? There is no club meetings today. She tries to curiously peek past me, even though the door prevents her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? You took so long that we had to come check on what's wrong. That's no good, Hichan. She wags her finger at me scorningly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you are tardy. Oh, sorry. I got the things here. Was just going to bring them. I think you were in some mischief, Hichan. Who was in there with you? I wonder. Misha signs something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Ah. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door to the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she is experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, and the insolence of daring to deface school property by sleeping on top of it, must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Rin, frozen in place apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders, from suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, and slams the door shut, turning to sign furiously at Misha. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. She shoots a very loaded stare at me too, as if it was somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Hello. Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door and takes a few eye blinks to realize that she might have trouble opening it. I open the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with a half-interested, half-sleepy face. Hello. Miss Tezuka, what do you think you are doing? You are not permitted to use school property for such disgraceful activity. Sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. At any rate, she's ignored Shizune and Misha's scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, points at Rin, and makes some quick signs. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how is your project going? Will it be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Suzune's cold stare is putting on her. I kept wondering about that myself too. And? We'll think about it harder. As Misha signs a reply to Suzume, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown. Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It will be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto him. Ren nods assertively. They'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't. Not even after that. Not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council duo. Rude. It's true, though. I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. The end of the world as we know it, but I feel fine. Like the weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to an unforeseen future. I'm about to ask what project she has and what are these apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? This paint can doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks lightly at the huge can of paint that is lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I naturally pick it up. Heavy. Yeah, sure. Where do you need to take it? Away. And with that, she takes off to the hallway, me in the paint can following since there is little choice for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now with Shizune and Misha gone, so we two leave towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another because the thin handle cuts into my palm. At least it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching, or maybe I am walking weird because of the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast, and I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, Trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Ah, Mr. Nakai, what a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back. Then turns to me because obviously it's me who he had some business with. There's something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait impassively because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long on your current medications there, might be some unexpected side effects, which might require adjusting dosages or even changing to another kind of medication. So we'll do a few tests regularly, but what I want is for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything, and come see me if something happens. Alright. So, how are you? Everything fine? I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too. Teachers and students here. My parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school, and both the student base and the faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least, that's the feeling I'm getting. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. Mm. That's great, and also one other thing. What? My sources tell me that you have been at neither the school track or even the pool, so I'd like to know if you've taken up exercising as I asked. Of course I haven't, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my ass off on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such. I just happen to know a few people, but that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually going to just doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. I pick up and lift the can down a few times like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down on my arms painfully. The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, and then comes back like it was never gone. Tezuka, would you give us a second? The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Rin's permission, which he doesn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you are still in your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it will be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on? Well, shit. Yes, of course. I can't say maybe. I think there's maybe another choice for that. But yeah, I'm gonna follow this route and say yes. So we are actually going to the same text thing. Yeah, I promise. Definitely. Actually, I could just like skip this shit because we've already seen this shit already. What am I doing? Because we've already seen this from our earlier parts. So we're just going to skip. And again, this is like if I've seen the text, I could just easily skip it, and as you can see, the skipping stopped because I've not seen this text. I'm gonna probably abuse this a lot in this run, since we've done two girls, just to speed things up and speed this game up. Some of you will probably not like that, but I just want to just get through this. Apologies to whoever doesn't like it, but yeah, I'm gonna do that. Anyways, this looks like a good time to stop, so we can see Emmy here. And we're going to continue on in the next part. So see you guys then on Kataba Shoujo.